Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match preview on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzy, and I'm your host for tonight's show. We are entering match day 3 in the Champions League as Liverpool go over to Germany to face a tricky opponent in Red Bull Leipzig at the Red Bull Arena. There's a lot of connections between the two clubs. We've signed 2 players from our current squad that include Konate and Szoboszlai from Red Bull Leipzig, so they'll be returning to familiar territory. Our former manager Jurgen Klopp is set to join the Red Bull enterprise as the global head of soccer, where he officially starts his new role on 1st of January 2025. Under the Red Bull umbrella, we also have a former coach in Pep Linders, who is the manager of Red Bull Salzburg. So a few connections there. But in terms of on the pitch, the last time we faced Red Bull Leipzig was in the Champions League during the 2020/2021 season in the round of 16, where Liverpool were victorious with a 4-0 result over 2 legs, 2-0 on each occasion. But a lot has happened since then. Red Bull Leipzig has established themselves as a strong team in the Bundesliga, as well as competing on a regular basis in the Champions League. They're currently managed by Marco Rose, who has an attacking philosophy. Liverpool have had some success since 2021 in domestic competitions, especially in the last few years, and make a return to the Champions League after a season out. This is also Arne Slot's first season as Liverpool coach in the Champions League, and he's done a fantastic job so far. So let's analyze both teams in terms of their performances in their respective leagues. So let's start with Red Bull Leipzig. They've had a fantastic start to their season. They're currently second in the league, but on joint points with the leaders Bayern Munich, who have a crazy goal difference of plus 17. They've scored 24 goals so far. In terms of Red Bull Leipzig, they've just beaten Mainz 2-0 over the weekend in their last fixture, so they're in good form from their fixtures over the weekend. They've made some interesting signings in the summer window. Antonio Nusa, who is a very highly regarded and exciting winger, was actually, in fact, very close to signing for Brentford in the January window. He's actually slotted really well in the left wing position. A player that Arne Slot will be very familiar with is Gutrida, as the former final defender, joined Red Bull Leipzig for £15 million. Artur Vermeeren joins the club on loan from Atletico Madrid, and he's a player with huge potential. So I'm looking forward to watching him play tomorrow. They've also signed a goalkeeper in Van der Voort and Hassan Odrago, who rings a bell to me, as I believe he was linked with a move to Liverpool, in fact, in the summer. He's an up-and-coming centre midfielder from Schalke. Well, that's the club that they signed him from. But the biggest coup was re-signing Xavier Simone for another loan spell. He had a fantastic season last year for Red Bull Leipzig, where in all competitions he played 43 times, scored 10 goals and provided 15 assists. This season, he has 2 goals and 1 assist to his name, so one to watch out for in this fixture. For me, in this team, he is the talisman, but they have a number of really talented players. They've got the likes of Sesko, who is traditionally a striker, but has been playing slightly deeper in this current team. He was actually very strongly linked with a move to Arsenal in the summer. They've also got Openda, who is a lethal finisher up top, and Lukeba, who was one of the names linked with a move to Liverpool in the summer as well. So a wealth of great young talent in the squad. So for me, this will not be a walk in the park, and probably our toughest fixture so far in the Champions League, even though Red Bull Leipzig have lost their 2 opening fixtures against Atletico Madrid and Juventus so far this season. But in terms of Liverpool, as you all know, are flying right now. Arne Slot is making things look very easy, and I've been so impressed with his start as Liverpool head coach. Liverpool are currently top of the table, 8 wins. 8 wins, yes, 8 wins so far. In terms of the defeat that we got, it still haunts Arne Slot. He's mentioned it a few times. Apologies, 7 wins and 1 defeat. And that defeat was, unfortunately, against Nottingham Forest. still haunts us fans, especially me, as it was a very disappointing result, but it still haunts Arne Slot, who can't stop mentioning it. He does mention it here and there, which is intriguing to say the least, but I feel like he needs to let it go. We're giving too much clout to Nottingham Forest for that victory alone. But in terms of the Champions League, we've won both of our games against Italian oppositions in AC Milan, where we won 3-1, and Bologna, which we won 2-0 at Anfield. So for me, this will be a big test for us tomorrow evening. So let's present the team news to see who's available and who we can then present in our predicted lineups. So in terms of Red Bull Leipzig, Openda took a knock in the last fixture against Mainz, but he's played down the injury and says that he will be expected to play in tomorrow's fixture. Haidara also picks up an injury during that fixture, but he should be available for selection. But Red Bull Leipzig do have a number of players on the sidelines that include Schlager, Rome, OZZWRLD, and Ouedraogo as well. For Liverpool, Jota is currently unavailable after his collision with Tosin in the fixture against Chelsea, so he's unlikely to be selected in the squad. I'm not sure what the nature of the injury is. I'm just hoping it's a short-term injury rather than something where we have to be worried about in the medium to long term. Alisson and Harvey Elliott are still unavailable with their injuries. Chiesa is still a doubt, which is such a shame. Also remains to be seen if Conor Bradley will be available, as he was missing in the squad against Chelsea. So what we'll do now is we'll present the lineups of both teams and I'll predict who I believe will start in the fixture. So we'll start with Red Bull Leipzig. So normally they play a 3-4-2-1 formation. So I don't expect them to change their shape for this fixture. So in terms of the goalkeeper, it's a former Liverpool player. Don't think he made any professional performances for us, but he was in our reserves at the time. So that is Gulaxi, Hungarian international. And then on the right side, you've got Klosterman, who's a player that can play in different roles, can even play left back if required. So a good player to have, I guess, in the back three, as he can play on either side and centrally. In the middle, you've got Orban, who actually scored over the weekend against Mainz. So he is the centre back there, also an Hungarian international. And on the left side is Lukeba, a player that I know a lot of local fans really wanted us to sign. His name is Costello Jr., which is interesting. Yeah, a very good player, 6 foot tall, very good on the ball. Can play centre back, can play left back in a back three. I feel like this role certainly suits his skill set. He was actually signed as a replacement for Gavardio when he was sold to Man City. So a player that they certainly rate very highly there at Leipzig. In terms of the midfield four, you're going to have to go for Gertruda, a very interesting signing. As you can see, he's labelled as a centre-back / right back, but for Feyenoord, he had, I'd say, more of a free role in that team where even though he played right back, he would transition to a more of an inverted role and could definitely progress and drive with the ball. So in a wing-back role, I feel like it definitely gives him that freedom to be a bit more attack-minded, and he did score a few goals for Feyenoord last season as well. So he's definitely a player that we need to make sure we're well equipped to stop and also reduce his influence in the team, because I feel like he's got a good passing range on him and he can be quite a physical presence in set pieces. So definitely one to keep quiet in this fixture. Nusa, very attacking minded player, Norwegian international. Excited to see him play. I've heard a lot about him. I haven't seen much of him, to be fair. Very skillful from the brief appearances that I've seen of him. So excited to see how he does. In this kind of formation, he's probably required to do more defensive work than not. So I feel like we need to utilize that as a tactic where a player, whoever plays at right back, which I'll reveal very shortly, We'll need to be a bit more forward thinking or positioned a bit more further up the pitch, and that will require Nusa to be more defensive minded, and that is not really his game right there. So that would definitely reduce the impact on their left hand side, and we can definitely take advantage of that. And in terms of the midfield, I think Haidar should be available for this fixture. An interesting player. He was actually signed as a replacement for Naby Keita when we bought him all those years ago. So he's remained at Red Bull Leipzig, and he's had a decent career there as well. He was also linked to a move in the Premier League. I think it was to Manchester United. So definitely a player that's defensively sound, but has great energy on him and can play box to box if required. So need to make sure we press on him because he's very good on the ball, neat first touch, decent at dribbling. So we'll have to make sure he isn't able to have too much time on the ball. And if he does have the capability of unlocking the defense. Alongside him will be their new signing, Vermeeren. He's a very interesting player, one I'm looking forward to. Defensive midfielder, but more of a deep playmaker where he's got a great passing range. So in this role, it suits his skill set perfectly. He doesn't need to be a box-to-box player. He can just control the ball and spray the passes around the pitch. So he would definitely have an influence in this team. So more of the pass, I would say Haidar is more of the industrious midfielder where he would try and break up play. Vermeeren is more of the playmaker in that double pivot. So yeah, we need to keep our eyes on him during the fixture. And then we've got Sesko, who probably the season before played as a striker up top, but in this role he's got a bit more of freedom to roam around. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he plays in this game. And then you've got Xavi Simone. Yeah, good player, really good player. A player that I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in the Premier League in the coming year or two. Has the ability to play at this level and also play in the Premier League. I feel like the intensity of the game might suit his game. He's very aggressive in his attacking sense. Has a great shot on him, which we probably saw in the Euros for the Netherlands. So a player that, for me, I think everything goes around him. Has great energy. Can play on both sides. So he's not just going to be sort of a static player in a sort of like a number 10 role. He will roam around the pitch. So I expect him to see him on the right on occasions or over here. And you probably see Sesko more around this side alongside the striker. So that's something we need to be very wary of. And up top, I believe he will be fit enough to play. So I'm going to go for Openda. So that's the predicted lineup I have. But in terms of the transitions, in terms of when they're attacking, I expect the shape to be a bit more like this. And you see Xavi Simons playing that number 10 role, roaming around the lines. And you've got Sesko more on this side and Openda being at Fox in the box. So you might see Sesko drifting out wide on the channel. And then you've got Openda in the box, and then you've got Xavi Simons here. So, it's a front three, but it's a front three that is multifunctional. They won't be playing sort of trademark roles that you won't see Xavi Simons on the right or Sesko like that. It will be where there'll be a bit more. I say they're more like inside forwards, but they have the ability to attack the channels if required. Openda is that fox in the box. He will occupy this role. Good finisher, very instinctive finisher. So we need to make sure that anything comes in that danger zone, we need to make sure we make our clearances and doing it in an efficient manner as well, because he's one of those players where he likes to tap in. He doesn't need to score a spectacular goal for him. Even if it's a 2-yard goal, he's more than capable of producing those type of moments. So that's my predicted lineup for Red Bull Leipzig. Drop a comment and let me know what you guys think of that formation and the lineup. Now we'll switch over to Liverpool. So with no Alisson in goal, Kelleher remains in the number 1 position there. And with the back line, not to say that I'm thinking ahead, but I do feel like we need to have the fixture against Arsenal in mind. We can't really just play our best team, in my opinion, which is probably not the right way of thinking. But It's a huge game this weekend. If we get the win, then it puts us in such a great position. It extends our lead from Arsenal even further. So they'll definitely have to play catch up if we got the win this weekend. So I'm not going to rotate the squad too heavy. I'm going to start with Trent in this fixture, but I don't expect him to play the full game. I'll probably play him an hour, take him off, and then bring on Joe Gomez. Konate, for me, remains in the lineup. Van Dijk as well. I wouldn't want to rotate too much at this stage. And then this is the part, the personnel that I would rotate. I'd bring on Simicast for this fixture. I think Robertson, we need to manage his minutes a lot better this season. It looks slightly off the pace in the last fixture against Chelsea. So I think a rest midweek would be great for him, and then he will be ready against Arsenal. So that is my backline there. In terms of double pivot, I'd have Gravenberch, but he wouldn't play the full hour. Full 90 minutes, he will play an hour, in my opinion. And I'm going to allow Curtis Jones to stay in the team. Fantastic performance against Chelsea. One of his best performances in a Liverpool shirt. He was everywhere. He was phenomenal in that game, and then got his reward by scoring the goal as well. So for me, he remains in the team, continues that good form. But I have Arsenal in mind. I'd probably start McAllister in that fixture. So this allows him to get more minutes. It allows him to continue his good form. But at the same time, he'll be, even though I don't think he'll start against Arsenal, he'll be more than ready off the bench in that game due to the good form that he's picked up recently. So that would be the double pivot that I would go for. Salah on the right wing. Shame that Cade is not available. I would have rotated Salah in this fixture. In the number 10 role, very tricky because I think Szoboszlai needs a breather, but we don't have too much. Could I put McAllister in there? We could, but he's just returned from injury, so I wouldn't want to risk him so soon, especially with a big game coming out this weekend. So it's going to be Szoboszlai, but he may possibly play an hour as well, and then we'll take him off and try and manage his minutes a bit better. And then I would go for Cody Gakpo in this fixture with the thinking of starting Luis Diaz in the Arsenal game. So slight sort of rotational kind of move there. And then up top, with Jota not available, I'm going for Darwin Núñez, who in fact had a great performance, I would say, against Chelsea. Yes, he didn't score. He wasn't on the score sheet, and that's his role as a striker. But in terms of his overall play, very impressed with his hold-up play and getting involved, being aggressive with his pressing. And yeah, I feel like he had a very good performance. Didn't really put a foot wrong. So hopefully he continues this into this fixture. So that is my predicted lineup. Drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. If you have a completely different vision of who should start in tomorrow's fixture, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. So in terms of my score prediction, I'm going to go for an away win. No huge surprise there. I don't think it'll be an easy victory for Liverpool. I think it'll be a difficult encounter, obviously, away from home against a team that I do feel like they have the ingredients to be a very good team. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory. And in terms of the goal scorers, I believe it will be Xavi Simon for Red Bull Leipzig. And for Liverpool, I'm going for their old boy Szoboszlai to score in this fixture and Darwin Núñez to complete the scoreline for Liverpool. So 2-1 prediction, that's what I'm going for. Drop a comment, let me know what you think the score will be in this fixture. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming shows, we'll have a show tomorrow evening as I'll be doing a live watch along of this fixture. The match starts at 8 p.m. So I'll be live from 7:50 p.m. UK time. And then we would have a match reaction show straight after around 11 p.m. UK time. It is a calling show as well. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, feel free to join. A link will be pinned in the live chat. And on Thursday, I'll be having a match preview of Arsenal versus Liverpool. We'll be joined by a special guest for that show, so please make sure to tune in. And then we'll have the live watch along on Sunday of that game, as well as a match reaction later that evening. So lots of shows coming your way. So please make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified of when and what time I go live. And yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So thank you as always, guys. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all tomorrow. Goodbye.